Talking to a real estate broker who's a friend of mine last night, and she's a listener of the show, but I guess it never clicked. She was watching nightly news, and they were announcing that your credit report, everything you're doing in business, your online activity is all being now sent to the government starting next year. That's already been the case for a long time. But in live time, they announced 3 weeks ago in Wired Magazine, the government admits, we're watching all your credit card purchases, your loyalty cards. They're just getting rid of any denial. They're just coming right out and saying there's no pretense of privacy. And these are felonies they're committing. I mean, just 5 years ago, people would go to jail for this in government. Now they just say, look, we're doing it. And then we get their internal documents, and it's all about us and stealing from us. Nothing to do with the men in turbans, who, by the way, on record have been caught working for them or who are provocateured by them over and over again. Lindsey Williams is coming up here in a few minutes, but I wanted our white hat hacker, again, we'll just call him Winston Smith from federaljack.com. Winston, any other tidbits you want to add? And then some of the guys in there, Matt Ryan and others, they wanted to talk about the fact that, you know, Microsoft routinely goes to hacker conferences and gives the source code out to new Windows versions and says, try to break it if you can. And that the government has, and Google and others, which is basically the government, really tries to recruit all the hackers they can to then work for them, I guess, on the dark side. What percentage of hackers out there are awake now to this whole New World Order system? Your comments on the general points I just made.
The government and military industrial complex contractors are definitely at hacker conferences recruiting. You can find at any one of these major conferences, you can find Booz Allen Hamilton, Lockheed Martin, Raytheon. They're all out there looking for people. NSA gives away scholarships at another one I know of. A lot of hackers are aware of what's going on, but they're still kind of getting the jobs doing this stuff because they're very lucrative paying jobs, and so they're whether or not they're keeping their original ethics when they're taking these jobs, I don't know, but a lot of hackers are aware of what's going on, but they're also getting jobs within the system so that they can basically live. And that might be a good thing. That might be a bad thing. It's pretty much from when people I talk to when I'm out there. A lot of people know what's going on and they're in agreement. But they'll still work at they'll still work for the government or for a defense contractor.
Well, it's clearly that old double-edged sword of it's good because as long as the hackers are into liberty and freedom, it's great to have them inside the system. The problem is that system is so corrupt and murderous that many times they go ahead and just set people up, even if you haven't betrayed the system, just because they want to have a conviction on you. So it's very destructive. And overall, we need people that have knowledge of all these systems to be out there exposing the globalist as much as they can. But it is creepy to have you and many others confirm to us and send us the data that the government is out there trying to move against what we're doing, the alternative media. And then the great thing for the globalist is they can engage in these activities and then blame it on the rest of the hacker community.
And a lot of the hackers that they're using for that are criminal informants. Like with the TJX breach, the main hacker that was behind that was a Secret Service informant getting paid $80,000 a year, and at the same time he was the same guy who's doing all these big credit card breaches, stealing millions of credit card numbers, and then they use that as an excuse to start clamping down on basically internet freedoms and monitoring financial transactions, looking for fraud because your credit card was probably compromised by this guy, but he was working for the Secret Service at the same time, getting paid $80,000 a year, and then that was in Wired Magazine.
So once you work for the government, it's also just a license to engage in criminal activity.
That seems to be the trend. They burned him pretty bad though for when they caught him. He got sentenced to 25 years for credit card theft, which is unheard of. It's, if you kill someone, you can get 10 years, but if you steal their credit card, you get 25.
Well, that could bring down the entire system, all of this fraud that's going on. And so many times it's come out that the big banks are actually releasing this themselves and then using it as a pretext to try to bring in even more control, because they can then put regulations in that are so strong, only mega banks will be able to comply with all of it. Winston Smith, good talking to you, and appreciate all of your help, and continue the great work there at Federal, Jack, and We Are Change, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks for having me on.
You bet. Visit Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. When you're on the site, you can also tune in 24 hours a day to my daily radio broadcast. There's also a free iPhone app to listen to the syndicated radio show when and where you want.